I'm not gonna put any pressure on you.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Wine and Danny. How are you? Good. We all are. DJ. I don't know what else I got. I did, yeah. That's their back door. Yeah, Dave called me.
Oh, no, I can move it over more. That's good. I can move it over more. I can move it over more. Did you see the board? Oh, yeah. Good. Perfect. Right there.
oh, yeah.
Hello, Chris, how are you?
Down by the spring fast.
How are you doing?
And you're done.
All right.
I'm older again today. It was just that, but couldn't get in spots.
Yes.
No, I didn't know, no, I knew it was supposed to be back in August. The closing got delayed.
We'll have to do a resolution. And she'll know. Now we can do it tomorrow. Yeah, you sold it to the store.
He's gonna change it to,
Yes.
gas, yeah, but it's gonna be credit card only, so it's open 24 hours. And then the shop's just gonna be shut down. That's what Mike told me. That's what it did.
Now, what?
No, she can do it. No, you mean it.
Hard to keep it.
Not high anyway.
Can't reach out either.
That's my thing,
All right, next call meeting in order with the pledge. Eric, will you please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody get a chance to order the bills?
We reviewed them and good to be paid.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna open it up to the public comment period. Excuse me. Please go to the podium when you speak. Please address it to the town board and not the audience. And raise your hand and I'll call on you one by one. Yes, Paul?
I've got two simple questions, but before I ask the two questions, we have a lot of new people in the town who really don't know the history of the town, which goes back quite a ways. They don't know what was going on here the day before they got here, and they don't know who was here the day before they got here. Now, I think I've been in the town as long as anybody, maybe longer. And I got my values 1951 in the first kindergarten of the brand new Poestenkill Elementary School, which was built by veterans, World War II veterans. I learned the Pledge of Allegiance, first day of kindergarten, and I learned what my responsibilities were as a citizen. And I want to point to these two ribbons I got here, which probably don't mean much to most people. The one, excuse me, the first one over there, that's a Purple Heart with a oak leaf cluster, which is combat wounded twice, keeping you safe, Keith, and defending your constitutional right to be sitting up there at the thing, at the podium. And that was a Poestenkill. The other one is a Silver Star for gallantry in action, for jumping out of a helicopter into a firefight, loading on some wounded people, and then staying back at the ground, staying back in the fight, which is where I got the second oak leaf cluster. And I did that because that is who I was expected to be by the people in this town that gave me my values. And that's a Poestenkill that don't exist anymore. A lot of these people who just moved here, they're not aware of any of this. And I think that the Poestenkill that don't exist anymore, in large part, and credit where credit is due, is because of yourself, Keith. And I want to go to 11 December 1995, Sand Lake Advertiser, page 17. So I've said who I am. Now, this is who you're going to tell everybody I was. This is a letter that you put in there. It's about me. It says, unfortunately, not everyone who reads your articles realizes, as I do, that's you, that I am mentally disturbed, the condition which causes my inability to effectively function in society. Now, that's a good line. I like that, Keith. You might have a future as some kind of a scriptwriter out in Hollywood. Going on, that's why you're forced to live on public assistance, except I've never lived on public assistance, but facts in Poestenkill don't make a difference. They don't. We just make stuff up here. Then it goes on, Mr. Plant, I do not have a criminal record, and that's good. And I have never been arrested for harassment or fired from a job because I could not get along with my fellow workers. And you know what, Keith? I haven't either. I do not have a criminal record. I was arrested, in fact, twice. I was arrested after I was the victim of a hit and run accident, not an accident, hit and run, assault on Liberty Lane, December 29, 1989. I was arrested for chasing the vehicle down the road and then throwing my body into the vehicle. 40 miles an hour I'm running now. Throw my body into the vehicle caused damage. But I defended myself against the Rensselaer County District Attorney's Office and the state police, and I was acquitted. So I was arrested, but I was acquitted. Now that's not bad for somebody who's mentally disturbed, which really kind of speaks to the quality and caliber of the lawyers we have in this county, that somebody mentally disturbed can go before a jury and beat them. And then it goes on, these are things that have forced you to live in the manner which you do. And I'm uncertain what manner I live in, but that's okay. And then you go on, the next time you feel an urge to pick up a pen, why don't you instead pick up a job application? At the very least, dial the number of a local hospital with a psychiatric ward. Now, I took you at face value on that, and I took this letter down to a renowned psychiatrist, nationwide renowned psychiatrist. And he checked me out from top to bottom, left side to right side. And what he said, Paul, there's not a thing wrong with you, but the man who wrote this letter, he appears to be a paranoid schizophrenic who might be psychotic and dangerous. And he advised me to stay away from you, which I did for a long time, but that's okay. And then you say it is obvious to all around you that you are in desperate need of help. And it never came. Anyhow, moving right along, we go to March 25th, 1999, and there's a door over there. I was sitting down in here probably over by where Dave is that night. And Marie Hoffman,
a minute, Paul.
Okay, Marie Hoffman was at the judge, and Joe Ahern, you know Joe? Joe Ahern, Matt Jacoby, and a lawyer for United or Waste Management, they went in that door, that's the boiler room back there, and they came out a little while later, huge smiles on their faces, like cats eating cream. And $312,000 worth of criminal charges against Waste Management, plus code violation, disappeared, poof, just like that. Now, I'll cut it short to my two questions. One, you told us, I think back in June, you were going to hold a public hearing for Water District 2 open. Is it, yes or no? And two, has that absurd, ridiculous, idiotic, moronic notice of claim against the school district been timely filed and timely served and timely filed, yes or no? Was it served?
Yes.
Was it timely filed?
Yes.
So game's in, the ball's in motion then, game's on.
It was a notice of claim served on the district, you're correct. There's been no litigation.
Oh, no, see, I'm aware of that. You just, what I'm saying is the game's on. So the school district now will probably kick that to
All right,
their.
thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks for cutting me off, Keith. Appreciate it. Now I can go back
Hey,
home.
Paul, if you'd like, I could go into a diatribe about why I wrote that letter.
Yeah,
I could go into a diatribe about New Concord.
There's
You know what?
other people who want to speak tonight.
I think, Keith, that you should really tell people why you did that. They should know
That was
because
clearly-
this
that
is
was
relevant
clearly just
history.
bait. So let's.
Thank you, everybody.
She was one of his victims. Anyone else like to speak?
Hi, good evening. My name is Cheryl Sargent Ramsey. My husband Scott Ramsey. We reside at 12 Heather Ridge. We own property at 243 Bossburg. We're here tonight because we just wanted to ask you a question. We recently learned that the town had a plan to acquire some of the property that we now own from the previous landowner. Okay? And so this occurred within the last 10 years. At that time, the town recognized that that person owned that property. So therefore, it was not a public user road. So here we are this evening. We're here to ask the town yet again, when will you stop using our property? When will you stop telling the general public to use our property? And when are you going to stop telling the general public to sue us, okay, on public record, if something bad were to happen there?
Well, I can't speak to things that happened 10 years ago, and I don't believe anybody here told anyone to sue you.
July 13th town board meeting, a member of the general public asked the town board what would happen if his vehicle, in doing the 18-point turnaround, fell off the cliff. And I quote.
No.
Yes,
That's-
sir. To
You
which
had
the
put
board,
rocks in the way. No one knew you did it. He went down there with a
he
truck.
did not go down there, first of
Oh,
all.
Blaney did not go down there. Okay? All right?
I'm not sure
Rocks,
what
and
you-
he also talked about what if his truck went off the cliff, he called it. Look at the record. Look on YouTube.
Right,
Look it up.
and then to which you
And then-
responded, Hammond, you responded publicly, so people in our community could hear when he asked, who do I sue? You, sir, said you need to sue the landowner. You know who we want you to sue.
I
How
don't-
is that
Can I
fair?
interrupt for a second? Is this something that belongs in a court?
Absolutely entitled to
Okay,
present her position to
Okay.
the town board.
sure, but
Okay.
we're not
we
here to
all
talk
tried.
about that. What we're here
But we
to
don't
talk,
have to reply.
You can listen to her comments tonight for sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely entitled to.
Thank you.
what we're here tonight is so that folks in this community understand we are being put in a very difficult position. We have lands that we cannot build on, okay? Because if something were to happen there, you've told people to sue us, okay? I can't build my dream house. I can't make this a better community. I can't clean up what Malcolm did. You're not letting us do that. How can I sell this land now? Someone else can't build there.
Well, I'm not gonna get into it. I will defer to my attorney, but
Well,
I
but
totally disagree
I
with
just
your
want to go back to
accusations.
litigation
I totally
point.
disagree.
I want to go back to litigation point because you're making us make a decision between building a house and suing.
I'm not making you do anything.
Yes, you are,
Sure
sir.
you are.
Yes, you are. And I just want to understand, I
Absolutely.
want the community to understand this. All right, I've been here more than 10 years. I love it here, but you're making this a very, very difficult situation. And it's not fair. It's not right. Legally, we are in the right, and you know that.
No,
You don't have our permission to use our land.
Well, we've done this dance for several months now.
We have,
it's
and I
not
did the
gonna
dance
stop.
for the school district. Okay, I met with the superintendent of the school district. The school buses are no longer using our land.
Because you threatened them.
No, sir, we did not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
The
How
superintendent,
dare you say that?
Because
3-year-old
I
is
talked
here
to the highway, the head of the
You're a school bus
transportation,
driver for
and
the
he
community.
came out and said, we're not gonna use it because we're afraid of litigation. That's exactly what they said.
Okay, sir.
And that it was a more unsafe situation now than it had been prior. And if you don't believe me, call
I
up.
do
and
not
ask.
believe you. Dr. Franchini told us that they consulted with their attorney. That attorney told them that it's our property. They do not have our consent to use the land. End of story.
that came from the school district attorney and the superintendent.
I have had the same
themselves.
conversations with Mr. Honeywell and Mr. Franchini and Mark Primo. And I don't agree.
Well, that's a shame.
Well, they agreed that we're the property
Well, that's your
owners, it's
claim.
our
That's your
property.
claim.
It's not our claim, it came right
But I'm
from
not gonna argue this
Frank
anymore.
Franchini,
Look at,
because you don't want to hear the truth.
It is
It's
the
not the
truth.
truth.
We
It
have
is
been
the truth.
telling the
Can I-
truth from
can I ask
day
a
one.
question?
This town has not.
Can I ask a question? When did you buy this property?
December of 2022.
And did you know that the school buses used it?
Not really, no,
But not really.
not
Kinda
really.
did.
We knew that the plow used it
Remember
because we
there,
saw the
so
truck
you
in the
did.
wintertime.
So
But
you
that doesn't matter,
moved to
sir.
a nuisance.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
We
it's
bought
called
it.
moving
There-
to a nuisance.
Okay, well, the
You
school
knew
district
that
doesn't
this
have
property was
pooling.
like that, and now you're
That
trying to
doesn't
extort the
matter.
town.
Legally, that doesn't matter. We
Okay.
own the property.
All right.
Okay, school district has a bus stop at the corner of Heather Ridge and Bosburg, according to their
So you want
policy
to
of
make
pooling
things
bus
more
stops.
dangerous for school children, so you can get
Oh,
a
here we
you
go.
been
You're
there?
making us the bad guy.
Have you been there? Go
That's what
there.
you want to
There you
do.
go. No, it's actually safer so they can't go off an embankment.
Correct.
A bus can't slide off that embankment and hurt children.
Well,
Why would you
driving
want that?
road, you know,
Why
something
would
like
you
60
want that?
years.
All right. this is-
Why would you
It's
want
been doing it
that?
for 60 years.
Why would you
Aren't
want
you the
that?
one who threw the rocks on the road?
Why would you want that?
Are you the one who threw the rocks on the road?
No one
Threw
threw any
rocks on the
Put the
road.
rocks on the road and
No,
block it off?
No, we put boulders on our property.
Oh.
We put boulders on our property.
All right.
I just want to
You
make clear, this
moved
is how
our
they treat
property
landowners in the
by
town
going
of
on our
Poestenkill.
property.
I think you can all see what's happening.
You moved to a nuisance and you know it.
All right,
I would like to say
It's
something.
your opinion, Mr. Haas.
we're done.
I would like to say one thing. We as a town board have an opportunity to work with and try to find a solution to this. Or we can box people into a corner and wait and see what happens. And I would hope we would try to work on a solution. And not say the kind of things that we're saying. Because it's not very neighborly.
No, you know what, no, but we're gonna go to an area that this is a public comment period. They spoke to us, we heard them, thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else like to speak?
I have something for the fire company, should I wait? Or should I speak now?
Well, I'm not sure what it pertains to, so.
Well, fire company business and town board.
Okay, when it comes to the fire report, you can make a report. Anyone else like to speak?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Greg Penod, Cayuga Court. Based on Paul's comments, it sounds like the public comment period on the water is still open. Yes, so that's correct, okay. And I'll defer anything I was going to say until October. So it's totally different subject. The speed of cars on Algonquin Beach Road. I think the speed limit's 30. Most cars exceed that, especially ones that don't live in the neighborhood, in Algonquin Estates, language, etc. I was wondering if there's anything the town can do, like put up one of those little things that says how fast you're going, just to remind folks that are
We can have the
using
sheriff
it.
do that, we can also look at, I don't know that we can reduce the speed limit. any
Oh,
more than-
no, I'm not, I mean, 30 is fine. I mean, if people stay at 30, that's the speed limit, that's fine. But I think with GPS, people are using Stop 13 and Algonquin Beach Road as a shortcut, and they are not adhering to 30 at all.
When I travel 4 times a day with the school bus.
Yeah, so you've probably seen cars go to it. I mean, I walk it. What piqued my interest was when I saw, a mom with their young daughter out with training reels, trying to teach them to ride a bicycle on Algonquin Beach Road, and cars are just zooming by. And again, this isn't like weather-wise. It's 30. The speed limit is 30. That's an acceptable speed.
Well,
Not the
they have
cars.
one around the Sanders Corners, I can ask them when they're done to move to Algonquin Beach.
I think that would be fantastic. All right, thank you very much.
Would anyone else like to speak? Yes.
I'd like to reserve some time to speak publicly after the fire company issue.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the minutes of August 10th. Did everybody get a chance to review them? I'll entertain a motion to accept them as written.
So moved.
All in favor? All in favor? All opposed?
All the same.
We have the minutes of the August 24th meeting. I'll entertain a motion to accept them as written.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Okay, we have communications from Charter One. We get them every month. Seems like a waste of paper, but we get them every month.
Yeah, but this was interesting because Disney is gone. There might be people upset about it, I don't know.
That brings us to our liaison reports. Do we have anyone here from the planning board?
I guess
Thank you,
that's
Tom.
me tonight. Good evening, everybody. Tom Russell, Planning Board. We had a meeting on the 5th of September. We had a minor lot line adjustment from Donner Butterfield to benefit the neighbor, to straighten out the driveway, looks like driveway situation on the property that the person bought. And that was taken care of. It was 0.07 acres. It was a slight line adjustment that was made to accommodate that person. So the entire part of his driveway is now on his property instead of being split between Mr. Butterfield and that gentleman. That got squared away. And then we also had an active discussion regarding fees. June was gracious enough to work with us on setting some fees for minor subdivision, major lot line adjustment, and doing that as far as zoning. And then we had a discussion also regarding the density and possibly changing that. That was not finalized. We had a meeting last night with regarding solar, commercial solar situation. Right now for single family, be it roof mounted or ground mounted, that situation has been addressed by the town. Fees might need to be slightly changed, but the commercial application, which we don't have any yet in town, which is coming, I'm sure is coming our way because of the energy changes and so on, we need to address, and we're in the process of trying to do that. We gathered some information from local towns, and that was reviewed by the board, and we will continue to turn that into some type of recommendation and pass back to the board, because town board, because that does need to be taken care of. That acre and above, between an acre and 5 acres, there's nothing right now, whereas a PDD wouldn't kick in until 5 or 10 acres. And that is a hole that will have to be filled, and hopefully we'll be able to work to get that done. At our next planning board meeting, we're having a representative from NYSER to come and address the board, and we're going to be a presentation about commercial solar and question and answer period too. So everyone's invited to come to the next planning board meeting to listen to NYSER, what he has to say. And we had a meeting this morning with Miss Allen from the Burge Group, and we started the process on the comprehensive plan and trying to put everything together to try and apply for a grant that has to be in on November 3rd, which we hopefully hear back from by December 10th or 15th. So that's where we are. All right, please.
Regardless, the issue aside of McKinley Way right now, where does that current proposal, what status is that at?
The density proposal? Oh,
Not the new proposal, but that proposed building application.
okay, unfortunately, they had a very good lawyer, and they went through it, and they were able to pick our code apart, and they were able to take advantage of the situation, because there was not a limit on buildable property, which we're trying to do now. Had that been limited, he would not have been able to put together 4 duplexes down there.
So that passed by anymore?
Yes, we
I
have.
couldn't remember that. All right, that's
Yes,
fine. Thank you.
unfortunately.
No, that's nice. What you have?
Next question,
Nope, that was it. Thank you.
please.
Not a question, but last night, Tom handed out some information from the town of Hoosick. Again, going back to the commercial solar, which we really need to address. So I just wanted to pass that information out to the board. So maybe you could look at it and we could discuss it at our workshop, which is going to be coming up.
Thank you very much, John. Had an interesting conversation with the supervisor from Easton, and he went over what they have done. They have 2 20-kilowatt solar farms up there, plus a 5-kilowatt solar farm. Just gave us some tips and showing up to look for it. So it was a good conversation. Thank you very much for
Thank
listening.
you, Tom. Anyone from the zoning board? Thank you, Ms. McGrath.
Well, I just tell you, I don't have any paperwork with me. We have just one variance application in the works. There'll be a public hearing. He's come presented that someone has Abbott Drive has a concrete pad, existing pad that's subscribed. He'd like to put a fairly large shed on it. And so there'll be a public hearing Tuesday for that.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the fire company.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm David Rupert, I'm chief here in town. I handed in my report to the town clerk, so offhand, since January 1st, there's been 295 calls. So I can't recall the rest of the information, it's on the report you'll get. But the reason I asked to stand up here is I'd like to address the situation that happened August 19th at the 22nd annual triathlon here in town. Because people aren't aware, last 22 years, there's been a triathlon. It starts at Crystal Lake, swimming and running, and there's a bike race that goes through town, 66, 351, all the way down to White Church. So this is a multi-jurisdiction event. It involves New York State Police, Winsett County Sheriff's Department, Winsett County Bureau of Public Safety, Sand Lake Ambulance, Poestenkill Fire, and Eagle Mills Fire. We were asked to do traffic control here at the Four Corners, and we were doing traffic control between the time of 8:20 a.m. and we were complete and back to the stations by 10:15 a.m. So you're talking just under an hour, just over an hour, maybe 2 hours. Just shy of 2 hours, I'm sorry. All right. So we had I discussed with our assistant chief what we were going to do and what he suggested from other issues that we've had in the past. So it was decided that we were going to park a pickup truck out front here at Davis Drive and divert traffic going to the town hall, the library, off of Plank Road. That way it just made it easier for the limited manpower and everything that we had, and just make it safe for pedestrians and the participants in the bike race. So, but an individual pulled up in a vehicle and stopped it in the middle of traffic, got out yelling and screaming and using profanity, which I have learned that it was our town supervisor, Mr. Hammond, approached a 60-year-old woman in a manner that she thought was threatening and scary, and she wasn't exactly sure what was going on. So she told the individual that you need to speak to my chief. At that time, I was handling an incident in Naval Park, so I wasn't there at that particular moment. So Assistant Chief David Basil handed it. So he also had dialogue with Mr. Hammond. Mr. Hammond called the Sheriff's Department, and the Sheriff's Department arrived. They had some discussion, and it was determined that we are in the right as a fire company, that we are the traffic control when there is such an emergency or situation that dictates that we're no different than a stop sign or a street light. We're in control. We're to make sure everybody's safe. And he wasn't too happy about that. But the upsetting part is basically the verbal assault on this poor 60-year-old woman that's volunteering her time to come down here and serve her community. And it's really appalling that an elected town official would act with such behavior out in the public. I had met with the individual. I met with David Basil, my assistant chief, discussed the situation in detail just to find out what was going on, who the individuals were involved. There was also an incident similar to this situation that happened up at Crystal Lake at the same time. That was a homeowner. Well, it didn't end so well for him. I think he went bye-bye with the police. So what I'm getting at is I would like a public apology to Ms. Yetto and the fire company that our elected official would perform in such a poor taste of behavior out in public. Just volunteers trying to do a job, keep things safe. There's no animosity between the fire company and the town. I mean, I don't know what's going on if somebody feels threatened by us, I don't know. But, I can't fathom, I can't think of a reason why that kind of behavior would even be tolerated, so. Or even why you would even decide to use that kind of, language, you know. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask something? I mean,
Absolutely.
okay, thank you. Obviously was not there, so I didn't see the incident, but I know from hearing other people that the town hall was not accessible, farmer's market was not accessible, library, so on. Going forward, maybe how the town could be notified of when that
All right.
takes place, or maybe our attorney can have a suggestion going forward as to how we address it.
Yep, we were directing people to go up Plank Road and come in Davis Drive the other way. I get contacted either through I didn't write it down, but the organization, it's a Capital District Organization, Triathlons, that's not the correct name. But they usually contact myself, or this year they contacted the chief of Able Park, and they went about contacting everybody else, the state police, Rensselaer County, Bureau of Public Safety, and ourselves and Eagle Mills. So they're the ones that reached in contact. But this is an annual event, like I said, it's been going on for 22 years. Our administrator that runs our Facebook page at the firehouse, I had them put out a public service announcement several days prior, because it is a little hectic for that hour and 47 minutes that this event takes place. So just to give the public a heads up, traffic's gonna be a little snarly. So.
Because I have seen the larger bike races and everything when the police are there and are directing traffic, but not in this instance. So had the town been notified in the past when something like this is going to take place?
That I don't know. I don't work for the town. I don't.
As a fire company?
Julie.
What?
When I was supervisor, we used to get a letter from the organization saying that this was the date it was going to happen. Everything else went through the public safety.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how they. I don't know who they contact other than who they like through the Bureau of Public Safety, because they let me know that Eagle Mills was coming. He was going to be there and Sand Lake Ambulance and Able Park. So I knew that part, but I didn't know as far as municipality wise whether they had contacted you or not. So. And that will be a discussion that I'll have with them too, to make sure everybody gets contacted, so there is no surprise. So. Thank you very
Can I
much.
just make a comment about that? It's the third Saturday in August every single year. So I don't know if you want to write it down, but that's annually, they have to have the third Saturday.
Right, and if I could, since you raised that. Obviously, I don't know the facts either. I wasn't at that, so I'm not going to speak to any of that. But it's certainly been my experience, and when events like this occur, there is coordination in the way you described it. There was clearly coordination through a lot of public agencies, but unfortunately, it didn't include the town. And when you close off a town road, that Davis Drive is a town road, correct?
Excuse me.
Well, if there's, I don't, again, know the facts of this.
Ingress and egress from the other side.
Okay, well, I understand that, but a portion of it was blocked with a vehicle. Right? And usually there's coordination with a municipal highway department when that happens. So regardless, and hopefully the organization that runs it does notify the municipality. As I understand it, it didn't occur this year. It's helpful to know that it occurs every year, but it's very difficult for a municipality to keep track of that year after year with like a little ticker on the calendar. Many times what will happen is there will be coordination between all of these agencies. And again, it sounded like they were. I'm a little surprised either the state police or the county sheriff didn't reach out to the town if they were going to be here. However that occurred, unfortunately, as I understand it, the town wasn't notified. So this was a little bit surprising that the road would be blocked.
Being that this was this was, well, it's considered an incident, it's an event, and it has an emergency service number on it, like no different than our fires and ambulance calls.
Right, I'm not here to suggest what
I
was
know,
done
but
was it
by law, I
appropriate?
don't have to contact anybody, I can shut down a road whenever I want,
Well, I understand.
in terms of public safety.
Well, I'm not going to dispute any authority of a fire department or fire police. I'm not here to do that. What I'm suggesting is that it's appropriate coordination when you know event is occurring. You're not responding to an emergency situation. It's not a fire or emergency service call. It's an event that's pre-planned. And if you know that there'll be a town road that will be closed, many times, whether legally required or simply a matter of appropriate coordination between public agencies, there is outreach that there will be a town road closed off between this period of time. This is how it will be done for this event. And then it's a non-issue, everyone's on notice. So going forward, there could be some mechanism, not that this town should. Some municipalities require, even for events like this, that will use a public road or a public place, that there is a local permit notification requirement so that the town is on notice as well. And many municipalities say, in conjunction with that application, you have to provide us all this information, which includes that the appropriate emergency services have been contacted and when and how. So everyone's on notice, so these types of events don't happen. Again, not suggesting anything was done appropriately or inappropriately, but just going forward, appropriate coordination. And if the board wants to pursue something on requiring some kind of local, permit for these kinds of events, sometimes they're called mass gathering events with a certain number of people coming together at a certain location. You can consider that, but going forward, it was really, as I understand it, a communication and coordination.
The main issue was the events that expired, the use of dialogue, the approaching in the manner, just like I'm sure the town has a policy on workplace violence if somebody comes in. We're volunteers, I'm technically a boss, that was an employee. She felt threatened, didn't know the individual until afterwards.
Mhm.
And
that I understand. I'm not speaking to
I don't
that.
want to.
I'm speaking to ways to try to
as a
avoid
workplace
this.
violence incident, or I could just ask for an apology, and that's what I'm asking for. To apologize to Ms. Yetto and the fire department.
Well, I'll give you an apology. I apologize for my language. I apologize to Ms. Diego if she felt threatened. At the time, I had just fielded a half dozen phone calls from residents and people in the farmer's market that said that the road was closed and it had never, ever been closed for this event before, and that they were asked to move the truck and you guys refused. Had there been any effort in coordination with my highway superintendent or myself, we could have made this whole situation much safer. If you really believe telling people they can't take a right-hand turn, they have to turn into traffic and the bike path and go around the local store is safer than allowing them to take a right-hand turn and come into a parking lot. If you really believe that, we could have made this a one-way and it could go out that way. But if you're telling me that one-lane road should be the access for a farmer's market, you didn't make it safer, you made it less safe. And you didn't tell us, so the people, the vendors in the farmer's market were losing money. They called me angry. Residents called me angry. I can't even go to the VFW post without people down there thinking that I had something to do with this.
I believe the assistant chief did speak with the people that were at the farmer's market. The time frame was very minimal. We were only there for an hour.
Maybe to you it was minimal, to them,
I
hey,
understand they're trying
they
to
were
make a
furious. And look at, you're right, I shouldn't have spoke the way I spoke, but honestly, this all could have been avoided with just some simple consideration for the residents of this
I
town.
believe it was considered, and I had to consider.
But honestly, you
the
don't think
public
we could have made
safety
this a one-way out and allow people to get to the town hall?
Coming out.
First off, the town hall is an emergency center, okay? You can't close it down, you can't, by
We
law.
did not.
No, you allowed people to come out down a single
We closed
road.
an intersection, left the road open.
And people know that. How do people know that? The road you're talking about isn't hardly wide enough for one car, let alone two. Come on, guys, you just, I get you're mad, but you could have done better. You just could have done better. You could have, with just some simple effort, a conversation with a highway guy, a conversation with this town. This all could have been avoided. You're right. I'm a foul mouth supervisor and I apologize. But that does not make what you did okay.
Sure.
Well, and if that's how you truly believe, and you're gonna do it again next year, then this town board's gonna have to take some action to make sure that it doesn't happen. Because if you really believe that bike race is so unsafe, then you shouldn't have it.
I don't.
If you make this an emergency,
I have no
a bike race is
decision
now an
about this.
emergency situation, that's what you're saying. This bike created an emergency situation that the fire police had to take charge, then you shouldn't have that race in this town.
I didn't have it. The council had it, and it involved the Bureau of Public Safety of Rensselaer County.
Well, obviously it's not safe. It's a dangerous
Because it was
situation,
an
it's dangerous,
event, and
we shouldn't have it.
we were asked.
I'm glad you were asked, at least you were there to do that, they went that far. But honestly, guys, I'm not gonna agree that what
My
you did is right.
decision is law, and that's what happens.
All right, well, you got your apology, I'm not sure what else you want.
It's really hard, folks. Can I have that in writing, please? Please?
You got what you got, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Which case would like to go first?
I'll defer.
David Basil, Assistant Chief. I also live at 29 Catholic Drive. Keith, you blocked traffic twice by parking your truck in the middle of 351 and Main Street, as you were telling us that we were no good and everything else.
I don't think I use those words.
No, they were much worse.
Well,
in the middle of town, with everybody to hear. And what did I say to you? I said, that's pretty good for the supervisor to be using language like that in the middle of town. And then I told you to call the sheriff's department, and you did. And what did he say to you?
I don't know what to do here. That's what he said, I don't know what to do here.
Okay, well, he came over to me and said, you have control of the intersection? I said, yes, I do, sir. And he said, okay.
And that had nothing to do with you blocking off the town road.
He says, if you want that road closed, that you can close that road.
You can close the store.
And he told me.
How many other roads did you close from here to there?
Just that one.
Okay, so you picked this particular spot where there was a farmer's market, a town hall, a library, and a hair salon doing business to close. That's what we chose to close.
No, you could get in from Plank Road.
That's a ridiculous argument. You know that, right?
No, it isn't.
So stupid to me.
Well, now he came up to me and said that I could close that road down and that I could leave my truck there. And if I had any more problems with you, to call him back and he'd come back and take care of you. So, who was in the right then?
I still believe you're in the right. The fact that you guys are coming here and saying and claiming that you're right frightens me that you will do this again.
It probably will.
So you're gonna come next year and close down the intersection of this town hall?
Yes.
And the library, and the hair salon, and the farmer's market.
For the public safety and.
Why didn't you do it other years? Why is it this year so important to do it?
We considered it and we determined when we discussed it that that was a problem in the past year and last year. We were having trouble controlling the cars coming in and out at this intersection here on 351.
Then maybe you guys should talk to them about a different route, because it's obviously, you're telling me it is too unsafe to have it
It's on
here.
the state highway.
State highway.
Not when you guys close it off. Now it's a congested intersection with a blocked entrance to our town hall.
And
Which
the
happens to be the
supervisor that's
emergency
yelling
center,
at
not
people
your
in the middle
bedroom,
of town.
not your living room. This building is the emergency center of this town. You don't have a right to block it off.
We did not stop access to this building or any town facility.
No, you
We
made a
stopped-
goal. First off, you had no detour signs. How's anybody supposed to know? You were gonna tell every car? You know, you could put something in the advertiser. There was a million different things you could have
There
done.
was stuff in the
other than what you did.
advertiser.
Yes.
Where was it in the advertiser?
It was in the advertiser.
That you were gonna
They go
close
park.
off this road?
No,
You
no,
were
not that
gonna
we
close off the
were,
farmer's
that the
market.
bike race was going on.
Okay, but you didn't tell anybody for the first time ever, you were gonna close off that access.
And how we do
That's the beef here, guys. That's the rub.
Okay, well, we had 200 to 300 bikes coming through here, right down through here. What's gonna happen when the car goes to turn in?
They'll take a right-hand turn and go in.
Yeah, and take bikes out.
How? They're on in the other lane.
No, they're not, they're in this lane.
Both sides.
Are you thick-headed or what?
They'd have to go around your truck to get around it.
No, they didn't. Our truck was off the roadway.
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you guys all night. You guys could have called us, we could have done any number of things better. And
Once
there's
again,
nothing
it
to do.
wasn't ours. We got pulled into it, like I told you.
Well, I got pulled into it too, like I told you.
But you behaved in your manner in public, and that's what we're.
Well, you got an apology, I'm not sure what you want.
Do we have a town ethics committee board? Okay, well, I would like them to look into this situation.
Well, I'll take it under advisement of the board. If the board feels I need to go there, I'll go there. I don't need
It's a request, it's not,
Well, it would be a request from the town board.
okay, well, I like it in writing too, what you decide. Thank you. Any other questions? From any of the town board members? Dave, you were there that day.
Yeah, I would like to say that, I don't think what I was instructed to do by the woman who was in charge of that truck made it any safer than me being at right turn. She told me to go across into the Boobies parking lot, turn around there and come around. So I had to make a U-turn on 351 to go to the light, make a left turn to go up and get into the thing. And I don't think that's any safer.
Okay.
Just as a point of fact, I don't think that was any safer than just letting me make the right.
What time does this farmer's market start?
9 o'clock.
Okay, well, we were out here at 8:15 with bikes going through. And like Chief said, we were done a little after 10.
Yeah, we were back at the station going home at 10.
So we started before the flea market, or before the farmer's market.
Right.
So we were already in motion
Well,
by
I
the
went there
time.
to set up, and that's what they told me to do, and I didn't see how that was any safer than just letting me make the right turn.
Okay, well, you know, you ride bikes, you know the way traffic is.
Yeah, I used to ride in the race, there was a
You know.
person killed, but the residents didn't want it, so they canceled it, and I understand that.
And 2 years ago, we almost had, you know, bicycles get hit while traffic was turning in Davis Drive. So that's why we put the truck there so that they couldn't. That's all.
But we didn't know about it, and we didn't know how long it would last. It seemed like it could have gone on maybe all morning, and then we don't do any business.
Well, the only time it goes on is when the bikes are going through, that's all.
We didn't know. I saw it.
Well, like I said, it's been going on for 22 years, so it ain't the first time. Thank you.
Things are number 2.
That would be me.
You're the first.
I was gonna say.
Regarding this incident, you are the highest elected official in the town. I think your behavior would set aside the safety issues. The town should have been notified of all that administrative stuff. This thing has to do with your behavior that day, your language that day, the way you assaulted these 2 people. It's not right. Parking your car in the middle of the street, acting like a buffoon. Not right, Keith.
No.
He deserves an apology. Penny deserves an apology.
I just gave one.
Okay, but it's still not right. You're the highest elected official. It's unbecoming.
Well, my frustration was because I was fielding phone calls you didn't field. I was hearing from people that were angry that you didn't hear from. I can't even go to the
It's not my
VFW.
job to hear from them. That's your job.
And I
That's what
did hear
you're
from
gonna
them, and I tried to
Yeah, but you're
what's up,
taking,
people
wait a minute,
politely
you're
asked
taking
you
it
to
out
and
on
you
somebody
refused.
else. You're taking it out on somebody else. You took it out on these 2 people. You verbally assaulted them.
Because it's these people
You
that put that in the
verbally-
way.
And you know what, Keith? I talked to Penny, and I asked her, maybe we should take up sexual harassment charges against you.
Yeah, I'm sure that would work.
It was unwarranted, what you said to her. She didn't like it. She didn't need to listen to it. You carried on like.
I didn't carry on. I didn't carry on. It was very short.
You did.
It was a
No,
few
you
minutes.
carried on.
Look, guys, you made your point.
Okay.
You pounded your chest. You got it out there. Congratulations.
Oh, and the other thing is, I don't know why you're going around to all these other meetings and telling them about this incident, how bad we are.
Yeah, how,
Because
really?
you-
Because I'm
that's
pretty
what
sure
happened.
you guys got on Facebook and started your crap there.
We didn't do it on
I-
Facebook.
that was
That was an anonymous thing.
Yeah, we know who the anonymous person was.
Yeah, it might have been you.
Yeah, right.
And also, there are lots of names on it.
I can guarantee it was
none of my members of the fire coming, that was the anonymous person.
But they were commenting. I can
All right,
comment.
all right.
Freedom of
Enough,
speech.
enough.
And I was sorry, I'll tell you, I was the one that's commenting. I believe it was your husband that was going off about it with the all wrong information.
All right, guys,
So you wanna go there?
Marcy,
We can go there.
Marcy,
No.
up here,
no,
up here, up here.
No, she made a comment.
All right, anyone else? All right, that was a great fire report, thank you.
So,
All right, do we have anybody from the library?
Hi, Susan Patnaud, trustee. This report is for August for the library. Our circulation was 1,500. We had 147 attendees at programming and 895 total visits. Programming highlights for pre-K and elementary included a STEM program focusing on the water cycle, where kids made fairy garden terrariums from recycled water bottles, and they had tie-dye day. Teens had a visit by author Jennifer Dugan on August 24th, who talked candidly with attendees about her publishing journey and upcoming projects she's working on. And adults had the book club. Some coming attractions include story time, which is every Friday at 10:15. Tomorrow is tractor story time, where there will actually be a tractor for the kids to see. Monday, September 18th at 11 a.m., there is no school that day, is mini musicians. And then Wednesday, September 20th at 6 p.m., When Hope Was King with Roger Savoy of the Homebrew Emporium. And that will include, bottling dandelion wine. Thursday, September 21st at 6 p.m. is Teen Murder Mystery Night. And Monday, September 25th at 11 a.m., schools are closed that day, there will be doing watercolor bookmarks. Wednesday, September 27th at 6 p.m. is Diamond Art, making cupcake magnets. That's been a really popular craft that they've expanded to having once a month because of its popularity. And there's going to be a Halloween costume swap, and we're going to begin collecting Halloween costumes next week for that. And the swap will be in mid-October. Some other announcements are that September is library card sign-up month, and there will be activities throughout the month to coincide with this and to encourage folks who don't already have library cards to sign up for library cards. There will be coloring sheets, make your own library card holders, and other kinds of activities. Summer reading is officially over, and there was a total of 123 participants in the program, 26 pre-readers, 47 children, 15 teens, and 35 adults. There were a total of 469 raffle tickets entered into the prize drawings, which equates to a minimum of 28,140 minutes read. We also gave out 218 take-home STEAM craft kits to children, 14 samples of Vegemite, and 26 pairs of chopsticks as part of the All Together Now program. That was the program throughout the whole library system. Sherry Wimet will continue as our permanent Storytime leader. Erin Hussey was the reader, and she's accepted a new job and has stepped down from her volunteer position in that regard. Sherry's been doing it and has been enjoying it, and the kids have been enjoying her, so we're very happy to have her. And everything is in place now for Donna Riley, our director, to begin offering notary services. She'll start taking appointments in mid-September, so right around now. But those notary services will be available by appointment only. She cannot really accept walk-ins at this time because of her other responsibilities. We had a successful market day last weekend that raised $2,017 for the library. And unfortunately, I have to end on a sad note, which is that Donna Riley's father passed away last week. Library trustees and staff are taking up a collection and making a donation to the Michael J. Fox Foundation in his memory. So, you know, if anybody is so inclined, that would be one charity that you can consider.
Thank you. pretty good friends with Mindy in Sand Lake. And she was telling me that she wished that she could get the kind of activity out of her library that we get out of our little tiny library.
Yeah, I really think a lot of that is attributable to Donna. She's just been such an amazing asset to our library. So thank you for sharing that. I'll definitely pass it along.
Thank you. Youth Advisory, Tiffany's not here and we haven't replaced her, so we don't have a report. CAC, is anyone here from CAC? Seeing none, thank you. All right, Felicia, that's you. You're up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Felicia. I'm the court clerk for our town. And I'm here to talk about a JCAP grant. And in case you don't know what a JCAP grant means, it's a Justice Court Assist Program. It's basically free money for the court. And we have a little plan in place that we would like to do some scanning of our ancient documents. Some about 71 boxes, I think, that we have a quote for. On your table, you should have a little pamphlet right here. So with the JCAP grant, it's pretty easy. It's an online program where you just open it up and you just write a little synopsis about what we're trying to do. And then you just send it out. It's pretty easy. There's a deadline coming up in October 13th. And we should hear something, you would hear something about in January, beginning of January. So we reached out to Secure Scan. Shaking your head.
We tried this last year, right, but we missed the deadline.
Oh,
I remember talking to Jeff about this.
Okay, for the town records? Yeah, this is for the court records. So this is pretty easy to do.
Oh, you did, right? That's what it was, okay.
Yeah, that might be a totally different.
Yeah, I'm working on two different things.
Yeah.
It's good that you're working with Chuck.
Yeah, he's excellent. He's great. He's been here. He's met with the judges. And basically they just come here in one shot, pick everything up, and then they just take it to their facility. They have everything is written out in there, a very detailed explanation about what they do. And then at the end, they'll just send us a little certificate, and I submit that to the court. If we get the JCAP grant, it's usually we need to spend that in about 180 days. And then send in a reconciliation of that amount being used.
Well, we have a resolution in front of you right now.
Yes.
And if the board would like, we could address that now. Okay, in the matter of approval of a grant application for the Poestenkill Town Court, whereas the Office of Justice Court Support has notified all justice courts availability of the 2023-2024 Justice Court Assistance Program JCAP grant. And whereas the grant funds are eligible for court purposes in scanning, indexing paper documents into archive of the next shreddable digital file, and whereas Poestenkill Justice Court is preparing an application to be submitted to the Justice Court Assistance Program for a grant of funds to enhance the Poestenkill Justice Court's ability to provide suitable and significant savings to the community of the town of Poestenkill. Whereas the board of the town of Poestenkill authorizes the Poestenkill Town Court to apply for the JCAP grant for the year 2023-24 grant cycle up to $30,000. And whereas the applicant must have authorized by the town board resolution signed by at least one town justice and the town supervisor, hereby certify that any grant funds received will not be used or reduce the town court budget. Therefore, be it resolved that the Justice Thomas H. Slavin Jr. and Andy and Gregory T. Cronow are hereby authorized by the town board to make an application to the Justice Court Assistance Program for a grant fund assistance in the operation of the Poestenkill Town Court. And I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
June, you want to do an oral, or Stu, you want to do a?
Supervisor
oral?
Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Huff?
Yes.
And Councilman Waller?
Yes.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm
Okay, Andy, we have a photo office here.
Sure. So at your workshop meeting at the end of August, the issue came up about the public officials that required to take an oath and that an undertaking be filed. It's generally, it is a requirement under the town law. It's for basically for those town officials that are handling the receipt of any money. And so it's an oath that indicates that any money received will be appropriately and properly turned over to the town and accounted for. And that usually the town's liability carrier will also include a rider that covers that to a certain amount of money. And that should be in, the policies of the town. We're gonna want to make sure that that is done properly. And I know that the town has now reached out to their carrier, to NYMER, to inquire about that coverage, make sure that that's in place. So that's part of the policies that June's been working on, and just wanted to update you on that one point.
So, going forward though, do we need to backtrack and, we already have the oath of office, but do we need to do something for the undertaking itself?
Well, the undertaking speaks to the insurance.
Right.
And so I don't know that the carrier is going to provide retroactive coverage, but it should be certainly put in place prospectively, correct? And that'll happen annually, okay, to make sure that you have the appropriate coverage in place. Something that generally the controller oversees to make sure that's in place. And it's a check simply to have an oath indicating that if anyone's receiving those monies, again, they're appropriately handed over and accounted for. If there's a violation of that oath by any town official, that's coverage is in place. That's the undertaking under the statute. Statute does list a bunch of town officers that are required. I've provided that to June, that'll be listed out. The board can also add to that within its discretion, but certainly those offices listed in the statute should be included in that oath and undertaking required. Okay.
I don't have a question about what you say. If we're done, are we done?
I'm done, thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to give a quick update on the website. Long story short, the website project has really gone amazingly well, so that meant we're due for a hiccup. But the town, everybody, we've been working on updating the website for a couple of months now. Tiffany helped out a ton. Everything's gone well, so I appreciate everybody who's helped out with that. The departments come in. What we were attempting to do this weekend was to make the switch over. Towpath is still hosting for our secure email, but we're basically putting a new coat of paint on the website. So what we do in that case is we contact Towpath and have them redirect to the new site. Simple, not that hard. And I knew, and I've had a couple phone calls with Towpath, and long story short, the good news is if you go to almost every, I'm losing the word now, server, it works. It's on my phone right now. If you go to type in poestenkill.com. Unfortunately, it's not working for some reason on Chrome right now. We asked them to make the switch over the weekend, so we figured out all the bugs. For some reason, they went and did it today. Again, it's working. It's not working for Chrome, and we're trying to fix that. And one of the things that Google has to index it, so right now when you type in poestenkill.com, it actually shows up poestenkill.squarespace.com, which it won't do that. But minor hiccup, it looks good. It's working the way it should. It's just give us another 24, 48 hours, and it'll be running the absolute right way. And actually, I was talking to our vendor, and she's already made other updates to the webpage as well. So we're 98% of the way there, and hopefully in 24, 48 hours, it'll be 100% of the way there. That's all.
Thank you, Eric. that brings us to our action items. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve June Butler as our deputy supervisor as our new foil officer as well. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Jill, now you got another job. All right, I'd like to make an appointment of Sarah Seifelsberger as secretary to the supervisor at a pay bi-weekly at an annual salary of $45,481.80.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Congratulations, you're officially employed. Okay, we have a resolution. You want to talk about the bridge at all before we do the resolution?
Yeah, I mean, we can go over the proposals if you want, quick, just to bring everybody up to speed.
Yeah, would you please?
So about 2 months ago, we sent out an RFP to 10 different engineer firms for a design proposal on the bridge replacement of Reichert's Farm. Due August 31st was the deadline to have it back to us. Myself, Wayne, June, and Dave created a scoring committee so we could each score it individually, average out the tallies. Highest score wins naturally. So we received 2 back from GPI and Collier's Engineering. GPI was the higher of the 2 on the price by about $30,000. However, Collier's left out some major key components in the design, and the biggest one being temporary traffic control during bridge construction. And given that Reichert's Farm is a one-way road, or a dead-end road, I'm sorry, not one-way. And the bridge is too small to do it one way at a time. There has to be a temporary bridge or some type of structure to maintain traffic, emergency vehicles. And so that's why they were so much higher. Their proposal was a lot more in-depth. They broke down every cost from A to Z throughout the whole process. The right-of-way study for surveying and the easements was about $15,000, which the reason why that's up there so high is because they're going to do it in the way that Bridge New York requires all those things to be done, in hopes that in 2024, when Bridge New York comes out, we can reapply for that grant for the 4th time. But with this construction being in motion and all this stuff showing a goal of October of next year being done, we're more apt to get that funding and to then pay this off instead of having a 20-year bridge bond. Their scope of work on the project was a lot more in depth based off of what we were looking for. We're looking for a 3-sided box culvert. They gave us a design proposal on that for what we recommended in the proposal. Collier's gave us a couple different options. One was an arch style culvert, but that is about twice the price of what we're looking to spend on the replacement. So the $30,000 you're saving the design, that wasn't fully, in depth, you'd be spending on the back end. And the other 2 design proposals they put up were 4-sided box culvert, which won't work for our situation because of the shale ledge, and an aluminum box culvert, which would raise the road 3.5 feet, and we'd have to taper the road and repave it all the way up to the state highway. It's just not feasible. I gave each of you a memo from Wayne because he couldn't be here tonight with his recommendation. Him and myself both agree that GPI did their homework on this and was more qualified for what we're looking for. June and Dave, I believe, agree with us on that with our conversations. So we're looking to go ahead with GPI tonight with that so they can start the design plan. They can't finish the design of the structure until bedrock samples are done. The lead time on those for drilling is about 10 to 12 weeks. So getting it approved tonight gets the ball rolling on getting those scheduled so we can get the design done before January. Hopes to put out a bid for contractors before early spring. And that is a tributary to a trout stream, so there's going to be a lot of DEC involvement on timeframes when we can work in there or not. So June 15th, I believe, until like September something is the window for construction with those guidelines. So
I will say for like the RFP, I think Dave agrees that they addressed everything that we asked for.
yeah, they're very thorough. They did their homework. I was very impressed with it. It was unfortunate we only received 2 out of the 10, but That's why we send out so many firms, so that way we at least would have a good idea.
After speaking with DJ, he reviewed these with me. It was also apparent that the other company only did half the project's proposal, and that the reason they were cheaper is because on the tail end, they'd be much more expensive. So up front, it looks like this company's more money, but in the long run, they're either equal or less, so.
Do we have a total cost?
Yeah, it's 99,000 and 455, yeah.
That's for
GPI,
to work with them.
to do the design, correct?
Right. Do we know, we don't, so then obviously we won't know until what the construction costs are.
Right, yeah, we're figuring somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 because of temporary structure.
And then I think you said this, DJ, and I wasn't, I might not have been, you put the RFP out a while ago though, right?
Yeah, about 2 months ago.
You sent it to 10 different people.
Right.
And, yeah, and then our idea is that we'll take a bond out of this? Is that what they, unless the grant comes out?
Yeah, which we would have to take the bond out anyway.
We'll have to take the bond
Yeah,
first.
Get reimbursed, but we're hopeful, having all this in motion, that maybe we can get the grant this time. That does happen a lot. They do like to see quick projects that are in motion with a lot of the meat already done, so. I've been optimistic the past 3 times, but keep optimistic.
What resolution number is this?
This is gonna be 34.
Resolution awarding contract for professional services. Whereas an existing large culvert located on Ricketts Farm Road over an unnamed tributary to the Poestenkill Creek requires removal and replacement. And whereas in connection with such public works projects, the town of Poestenkill Highway Department, hereinafter Highway Department, sought proposals from qualified consultants for professional engineering services associated with the design and construction of the project. And whereas the Highway Department received proposals submitted in response to such request, including a proposal submitted by GPI, Freeman Peterson Incorporated, dated August 31st, 2023, for design and construction phase services, including data collection and analysis, preliminary design, environmental review and permitting, right-of-way related services, final design phase, procurement of bids, and construction support in a total fee amount not to exceed $99,455.00 for such scope of services in connection with the culvert replacement project. And whereas the Highway Department has identified the proposal submitted by GPI Freeman Peterson Incorporated as its preferred engineering consultant for this culvert replacement project, and recommends that the Town of Poestenkill Town Board award a contract to GPI Freeman Peterson Incorporated in accordance with the written proposal described above. And whereas the Town of Poestenkill Town Board has reviewed the written proposal submitted by GPI Freeman Peterson Incorporated, dated August 31st, 2023, and in consideration of the recommendation of the Highway Department, finds GPI Freeman Peterson Incorporated to be qualified for performance of such professional services, and determines it to be in the overall public interest to award a contract to GPI Freeman Peterson Incorporated in accordance with the written proposal dated August 31st, 2023, as described above. And whereas the New York General Municipal Law, Section 103, does not require the public works contracts constituting professional or specialized services to be subject to public competitive bidding requirements, regardless of amount. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Poestenkill in regular session duly convened as follows. The Town Board of the Town of Poestenkill hereby awards a contract to GPI Freeman Peterson Incorporated for professional engineering services pursuant to its written proposal dated August 31st, 2023, in connection with the culvert replacement project as described above, for the scope of services described therein, in an amount not to exceed $99,455.00, and further hereby authorizes the supervisor of the Town of Poestenkill to execute any and all documents that may be necessary in furtherance of such award. Resolution is offered by myself and seconded by.
I'll second.
Sue?
Councilwoman Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilman Oliver?
Yes.
Supervisor Hammond?
Yes. So moved. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Start a very large project.
Much needed.
Next, we have the standard workday, June. I believe this is yours.
This is the, approve the standard workday and reporting resolution for Lance and Son that we just have to.
Make a motion.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
make the motion
I
to,
vote, correct, yeah.
I can make that motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm gonna vote no.
Okay. So moved. Thank you.
The National Constitution Week proclamation. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17, 2023 as Constitution Week. Therefore, let it be resolved as of this date, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th to the 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. In witness thereof, I accept my hand and cause the seal of the community to be affixed this 14th day of September in the year of our Lord 2023.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jim. You're up.
I have this is the Daughters of the American Revolution, right? Different from that one? That's okay. So the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, National Constitution Week proclamation. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I therefore proclaim, I do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th to 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect upon the privileges of being an American with all the rights and responsibility which that privilege involves. I would therefore be that I set my hand and cause the seal of the community to be affixed on this 14th day of September in the year of our Lord 2023. So moved. Was it? I thought it was different. That's what I said. Sorry.
We have the National American Indian Heritage Month.
Indian Heritage, this is the Daughters of the American Revolution. They copy and paste it. They just change the time.
Yeah.
I still don't know the word.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Sounded familiar, that's what.
Let me read the American Indian one.
Yeah.
The National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, National American Indian Heritage Month, a proclamation. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation has been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous peoples, and whereas the contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, and whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month, and whereas in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities have been planned. Now, therefore, I, Keith Hammond, by virtue of my authority as supervisor of the town of Poestenkill, do hereby proclaim November 2023 as National American Indian Heritage Month in this town, and urge all our citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. In witness whereof, I have heretofore set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Poestenkill to be affixed this 14th day of September, the year of our Lord, 2023. And it has under here, Keith signed it already, signature Keith Hammond. I so move.
All in favor? Thank you, Dave. Okay, next we have a quote from Hewlett Packard for laptops for my secretary. She, the price we were quoted was $674.68. I'd like to make a motion that we purchase the laptop.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
There's another computer in that.
That was the second thing.
Yeah, what's that? First, so,
We say both?
Sue is the other one.
So we include both computers with this?
Or do we need to do it again?
Mine's the oldest one in the town hall. so-
No, I'm just saying, do we need to do a second resolution?
yeah, we better, just,
I'll make a motion that we do, get rid of as well.
all in favor? Aye. You get one too, so.
Just like Christmas.
Yeah,
Right.
all right, Tom Russell was so kind to put together a resolution for us for an application for a grant to help with our master plan. Whereas the town of Poestenkill is applying for Hudson River Valley Greenway for a grant under the Hudson River Valley Greenway Planning Grant Program for the project entitled the Town of Poestenkill Comprehensive Plan to located in the town of Poestenkill, where now therefore be it resolved that the governing board of the town of Poestenkill hereby does approve and endorse the application for a grant under the Hudson River Valley Greenway Planning Grant Program for a project known as the Town of Poestenkill Comprehensive Master Plan located within this community. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? So moved. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Supervisors had plenty of time tonight, so I'll bypass my report. Did I miss something? Oh, we're moving that to executive session.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine.
I should have told you guys that. Town attorney's report?
I'll be brief. Aside from routine matters, we did do some research on local laws regarding mass gathering events to prepare some options for the board to consider and certainly review authority of the fire department and fire police. So that was certainly well needed, and thank you for raising that issue. We did do that research. We worked on some FOIL requests and coordinated with the town clerk, responding to some FOIL responses, and we did prep and review the resolutions for this evening.
Thank you. Town clerk's report, Sue, you wanna?
During the month of August, the town clerk took in $13,443.46. Of that amount, $10,262.98 was turned over to the supervisor.
I move that we accept it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sue.
So there were no marriage licenses for the month?
It's 6.
Oh, yeah, 6. I didn't see it.
Assessors report, we have a report from Betsy.
I didn't have anything to add.
Okay. Water managers, we have a water manager's report. Thank you for fixing the shorts. I appreciate that. Building inspector, we have a report from our building inspector. Dog control officer, we have his report, and DJ, you're up next.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add was October 16th to the 20th will be our fall brush pickup. It's the third week of the month.
Thank you. Next, we have budget transfers, and we don't have any. That leads us to the payment of bills, Dave.
I move that we pay the general and highway bills of $53,701.84.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, so moved.
And I move that we pay the water bills of $48,986.01.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. We have a need for an executive session tonight. So I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Can I bring something up? I realize it wasn't done in the beginning, but in the intermittent meeting tonight, it was brought up by a concerned citizen that owns this property on Bosberg Road. And we never seem to get an answer out of the town attorney on how we're gonna proceed with that. And in the past, the person put stones in the road or rocks in the road. The highway department removed them, they put them back, and then I guess it was brought up for state police to come over and tell them to take the stones out of the road. The question that I have, in public interest, in concern with the school buses and the fire department, being it's a dead-end road, we've had previous fires over there. The water for that end of that road, you have to back up and go to a hydrant down off another road. Now, in the past, for the last 50 years that I know of, that's been a utilized piece of property. And my answer to you, sir, is why isn't the town looking at taking that under eminent domain? When the lady said to here that, nobody's taken property in this town before, that's not true. The land right in front of my house was taken for eminent domain for the public use and benefit of the public. Now, why are we still going on with this, people?
We are.
And the other thing is I believe that property was purchased under multiple deeds.
Look, she's not here, and so.
Well, I wasn't allowed to
I know.
talk there before, and I would have brought it up.
I know, but I'll just tell you the generic answer. The rocks aren't going to be placed back. It's the town's contention that is a user road. If the school decides they don't want to use it because they're afraid of liability, that's on them. That isn't going to preclude our fire department from using it.
That's correct.
Or our highway department from using it. And that's
any emergency services.
That's the simple answer, and I really.
Either that or the fire department ought to come up with a proclamation that they're not gonna service those two houses on the end of that road.
Well, you can't do that, but thank you.
Yeah, just so the record's clear, the property owner has every right to come into the public meeting and make statements.
Right.
And those are received by the board.
Right.
Let's make it clear that the highway department has informed the property owner that it's the town's position that the road, including the turnaround area, is an existing public highway, as a highway by use.
I realize that, sir, but this is the second time that this has been brought up here.
And you know what, it may be brought up 100 times, it's not gonna change the town's position.
Okay, all right.
It is the town's position that that is a public highway, and if anything is put there to be blocked, it will be removed by the highway department, and we place the property owner on notice of that.
And we do charge the
Why don't
property
we
owner.
use like eminent domain?
If a highway already exists as a public road, there's no basis, there's no need to take property.
They did that in Mike's sense though. On Route 66, they took 147 feet when the normal highway is 45.
When there's a widening or the need to take private property for a public project, that will implicate the eminent domain power. When there is already an existing public highway, and the issue is simply the continued use of that existing public highway, eminent domain is not implicated. It's an existing public highway.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so that's why the town went out and removed the obstructions.
And we did send them a bill.
I think you guys should work on maybe putting a line change so that way in the future it doesn't come up. So it proves that the town owns the road.
Well, again, not to belabor this, but just so everyone understands, there are two types of public roads in New York. One is a road where the municipality actually owns the property. It's a deeded road. The second type of public road is called a user road, a highway by use. The underlying property, and this is the property owner's position, is privately owned. But it's been used as a public road by members of the public, and it's been maintained by the municipality for a period in excess of 10 years. as a matter of law, that becomes a public road. There's a public easement over the surface that allows the public to use it. Fosberg Road is a highway by use.
They were saying that it was only a 40-foot that they could use, not actually as a cul-de-sac.
Well, they're not here and, you know, I'd like to move on.
That's fine.
No, we had a public comment period and then
You normally have one at the end.
we did it again tonight.
Well,
I have I'll entertain a motion on the executive
public
session.
comment, you're not gonna do one at the end?
Please,
You
stop
changed the
interrupting.
meeting tonight?
Do I have a motion?
All I wanna do is ask you about the COVID money. What's? the
We had a
status?
public comment period. Do you see another one on the agenda here?
We normally do it before.
Hey,
All right, go ahead,
Everything
go ahead,
you
go
have
ahead,
for the
go,
last
go
2
at it,
years.
go, do it.
I'm asking about the COVID
What
money.
about
We got a balance left over. Are we
Yeah.
gonna do anything with it?
it? At some point,
Anything in mind?
at some point, yeah. We have a number of things, but there's no rush to spend it.
Okay, just asking.
From the meetings that we had with the public, there was quite an outpouring of support for the town park. So we have been working on that. DJ's cleared a lot of land going forward with that. Trying to look towards like picnic tables and maybe eventually a pavilion, but that's still in the works and money will probably be used for that.
All right. Do I have a motion to go to executive session? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you, people, for coming and doing no business with me.
You don't need that.
Oh, I see.
You're